Joining me now is the president and CEO of the International Rescue Committee, David Miliband. He's also a former foreign secretary of the United Kingdom. He's the author of the book Rescue, Refugees and the Political Crises of Our Time. David, it's good to see you. Thank you for being with us. When we spoke several weeks ago, you told me that a famine in Gaza would be, quote, a failure of humanity. Since then, the situation has gotten much, much worse. And then the killing of the World Central Kitchen workers, a group that Israel at one point reportedly had considered asking to spearhead the food distribution efforts in Gaza. World Central Kitchens is now withdrawing from Gaza, and I think a lot of organizations, including yours, have probably had to conduct a strategic review this week, a safety review, to figure out how do we operate in this environment?
Well, thank you for having me on, Ali, again. The International Rescue Committee continues to work in Gaza. We have an emergency medical team working in one of the hospitals with our partner, the Medical Aid for Palestinians group. We have 4 or 5 local partners trying to help people keep life going in Gaza, especially in the north of Gaza, which is under unbelievable strain. But 2 weeks on from the famine warnings of the International Phase Classification Group, as I remind your viewers, that's a technocratic group, not a political group, warning that 1 million people were at catastrophic levels of famine. We have not seen the situation of aid flows improve. It's very good that Secretary Blinken has referred to an inflection point being necessary. I want to put it to you that we need a paradigm shift following time. Aid for civilians and protection for aid workers are not the generous benefaction of combatants in conflict, in this case, Israel and Hamas. They are legal as well as moral rights that civilians and aid workers have. Civilians have the legal right under the 1945 conventions that were established to life and to livelihood, and aid workers have a legal right to be able to go about their business without being killed. This could not be more serious, and I think the stakes are very, very high indeed, not just in Gaza, but in other parts of the world where impunity rather than accountability and the flow of aid reign.
You are a man who has had experience in global politics. Jose Andres is not. He was a chef who has gone out to feed the world and has understood the logistics of doing it. And I see him all over the world when I go to hotspots. He assiduously stays away from getting political in these environments, but his rebukes were stunning this week. They echoed exactly what you're saying, that you cannot do this. Whatever your war happens to be and whatever justifications you have for your war, we've got to protect civilians, and you've got to protect humanitarian workers. That's the way it goes, especially when those people don't have access to normal services. So this paradigm shift of which you speak, how do we get there? Who leads that paradigm shift? Are we hoping Israel will do it, or is it really America and other Israeli allies that need to force that hand?
Well, as you know, hope is not a strategy. We're well beyond hoping. We've got to get into actions. That's what counts now. Yes, there's a fundamental role for America, but I would argue that every nation in the world, I would also argue every business, every NGO, has a responsibility to think about where the world is heading. In the humanitarian sector, my sector, we work on very simple principles. We're not political. We're not partisan. We're neutral and impartial in conflict, and we call out wrong where we see it, whoever does it. It's very, very important that we're able to do that in order to go about our business. It's also vital that every civilian life is of equal value. That's imperative in the humanitarian struggle. What needs to happen now is the actions that follow the words that we've heard. To repeat, 1 million people are at catastrophic levels of famine. Another 1 million are at emergency or crisis levels. And in the Gaza case, because you asked me what needs to change, let me just go through the list again. There need to be more crossings, not just announced, but opened. There needs to be a new procedure for the vetting of trucks, because at the moment, when trucks go in, they get blocked. And to remind your viewers of something I said 2 weeks ago on your show, at the moment, if there's a pair of scissors on a large truck that is considered dual use, i.e. medical use, but could also be used for some kind of other activity, the whole truck gets turned around. We need a change of procedure there. Thirdly, we need to make sure that when the trucks enter Gaza, they're able to have safe passage through Gaza. Fourthly, civilians have to be able to come and access aid. And finally, I want to make a point about the safety of aid workers and their role. On January the 18th, the International Rescue Committee, my organization, our own guest house, was hit by an Israeli missile. 15 people were in that house. Fortunately, thankfully, luckily, only 3 were injured, so there were no fatalities. But we warned at the time that the so-called deconfliction system, this is tragically the system that the World Central Kitchen relied on to make themselves safe, this deconfliction system by which humanitarian agencies tell the IDF, in this case, of the routes they're taking, it wasn't working. It wasn't working on January the 18th, and it's not working now, and it needs to be replaced.
David, thank you, as always, for your insight into this. Your voice is remarkably valuable in these troubled times. David Miliband is the president and the CEO of the International Rescue Committee. He's the former foreign secretary for the United Kingdom. Hey, everyone. MSNBC has a new and improved app. You'll get real-time alerts and analysis, live blogs, in-depth essays, video highlights, and the best 2024 election coverage. Download the new MSNBC app. Here's how to do it. You tap on the App Store on your phone. You hit search on the bottom right corner. You type in MSNBC. You click on the MSNBC app. You click on Get or the cloud icon and enjoy it.